Hello and welcome to LibraryData. This video will provide an overview of the Bestseller Circ report, which allows you to look at the performance of best-selling titles in a specific retail market, and then see if those titles are being held at a library aggregate of your choosing. So to start off, here we are at the LibraryData homepage, and to get to the Bestseller Circ report, we can navigate over here in the sidebar, and it's the fourth report down from the top. So as I already mentioned, the Bestseller Circ report returns the best sellers in a chosen sales market, alongside the circulation and collection inventory of those best-selling titles at the selected library aggregate. So in order to run a Bestseller Circ report, you need to have access to both library data and sales data. First up, on the criteria selection page, you will be prompted to choose which library aggregate you would like to compare results for. The default setting for aggregates is the all libraries, and the quick pick section here shows recommended aggregates based on the ones you commonly use. To choose a different aggregate, click the Add Edit Aggregate button to open a menu. From there, you can filter aggregates based on type, province, population density, the population served, budget tier, and branch focus. You can do this by choosing from the list, or you can also search up in the search bar here. Next up, you'll need to choose your sales market. So in this section, you can choose the aggregate you would like to compare the data with. So I'm going to select the all markets, and now I will be able to compare the best-selling titles in the all markets against those same titles, loans, and circulation figures in the all libraries. An important note for publishers, distributors, and sales agents is that every market in this report is subject to watch list restrictions. This means that you will only be able to see sales data for ISBNs that belong to you and are in your watch list. This is also true in this case for the all markets. Now, while the all markets is an open market in the other reports, which means that you can view sales of other publishers' ISBNs in this case, this report will only show you a total of your own sales in the all markets. For retailers, librarians, and wholesalers, watch restrictions do not apply because you only have access to view your own markets. So you can sales data for all ISBNs, but only within markets that you have access to. Next up, we need to select our reporting period. The default setting for reporting period is the current week, but you can also select a different period from the drop-down menu. For more advanced options, you can click on Custom, or click on the calendars below and select from there. Next, you have the option to limit the number of rows that you'd like to see in your report. The default is 100, but you can show up to 50,000. It's important to note that for reports larger than 10,000 rows, you have to download that data rather than viewing it on the web browser. This is because we don't want to put too much load on the site because it will really slow down our reporting. So for now, I'm going to stick with 100 rows. Now, if I wanted to, I could run this report now, but there are also some advanced criteria that you can add to your report. You can choose to only view titles that are available to order. This can be helpful because there might be some titles appearing that are in backlist that you aren't able to acquire for your library. You can also limit your search results to a specific number of units sold at the selected sales aggregate using both the minimum and maximum text boxes. I could also choose to only fill out one text box, so if I only wanted to see titles that had sold over 10 copies, I have the option of doing so here. You can also filter by a subject category. The languages selector works similarly, where you can select from the drop-down menu, or you can search by code or name in this bar. So that's everything. So now I'm going to run this report and we can take a look at the results. So when the report results are returned, there are several ways you can orient yourself to the page, navigate, and also manipulate the views of the data that you've returned. This summary at the top of the page gives a breakdown of the criteria that we've used to create this report. If you want to change any of the parameters, you can have the option to click on the View Adjust Criteria button, and this will take you back to the previous page we were on where you can select your criteria and add filters. Down here, you can see the column headers for the data that we're seeing. Now, when you're actually in LibraryData, you won't see this orange box. This is hiding the data because here we have some information from sales data on display, and that is obviously confidential and only accessible to sales data users. But we can get a sense of what we would be seeing. So there are columns for ISBN, title, contributor, publisher, pub date, and then getting over here, you can see the comparison between the units sold and on order in all markets, as well as data on circulation in the all libraries. If there were certain columns that you weren't interested in seeing or you thought you wanted to add something else to this report, you can use the Customize Columns button here, and this will open a pop-up where you can choose to deselect or add any columns that you're interested in. If you change around the columns, adding and removing things based on your preferences, and decide that this is what you would like to be the default when you're creating Bestseller Circ reports in the future, you can click on Use Columns below for My Defaults, and that will save them to that My Defaults section that we showed on the previous page. As with all the other reports in sales data, you have the option to download the report as an Excel or CSV file or email a copy to yourself. Or, if you wanted the data to be updated each week as we get new data from libraries, you can save the report to the My Report section of the site here by clicking on this button. Or you can distribute it to your colleagues either by sharing it within sales data or by sending them an emailed copy. And that's everything on the Bestseller Circ report. If you're interested in learning more about LibraryData and the different reports that we have, you can check out some of our help documentation over here at this link. And of course, if you have any questions, please contact us by either filling out the web form here or sending us an email at librarydata@booknetcanada.ca.